Hey guys, it's Stephanie with VA Claims Veterans Helping Veterans. So last night, the PACT Act Bill of 2022 passed the Senate floor, and I thought it would be a pretty good idea to give you guys a video on some items that are noteworthy from the bill and kind of discuss them and show you what it's all about. So let's get started. All right, so some of the noteworthy items that I took away from the PACT Act Bill of 2022 was Section 111, which is the expansion of period of eligibility for healthcare for certain veterans of combat service. Section 112, authorization period for emergency treatment in non-Department of Veterans Affairs medical facilities. Now remember, I put a video out about this a few weeks ago, so there's some significant changes to this, and we'll talk about that later on in the video. Section 303, medical nexus examinations for toxic exposure risk activities. Section 403, presumptions of service connections for diseases associated with exposures to certain herbicide agents for veterans who served in certain locations. And finally, Section 406, presumption of service connection for certain diseases associated with exposure to burn pits and other toxins. Now keep in mind, I'm going to provide that link at the description section of the entire bill if you want to go ahead and read that. So this is just some noteworthy items that I took away from it. So let's talk about Section 111, expansion of period of eligibility for health care for certain veterans of combat service. Well, you can read through this, but basically in a nutshell, they're increasing it from a 5-year period and they're inserting a 10-year period for this. Basically for some clarification of coverage, outreach plan, and report on enrollments, and the effective date, which is going to be October 1st, 2022. Now let's move on to Section 112, authorization period for emergency treatment in non-Department of Veterans Affairs medical facilities. Now I mentioned I did a video a few weeks ago. Well, in that video, I mentioned you had 72 hours to report a non-ER visit. Well, this bill that just got passed is going to be 96 hours to report. So now you have an additional 24 hours to report that. And now let's talk about Section 303, medical nexus examinations for toxic exposure risk activities. So basically, in a nutshell, what this means is you were in a presumption area, right? You currently have a disease or illness that you think is linked to when you were over there and should be presumptive. Well, you still need that nexus examination. The VA is either going to order a CMP examination or potentially your doctor is going to link that illness diagnosis to presumptive of when you were serving in those areas. Kind of a lot of word salad going on, I know, but continuing on with it for Section 303, you can read this at your leisure and kind of digest it. So let's move on. Section 403, presumption of service connection for diseases associated with exposures to certain herbicide agents for veterans who served in certain locations. So I got a list for you here. Republic of Vietnam. Expanding presumptions related to Agent Orange exposures include Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Guam, American Samoa, Johnston Atoll, or ship that called at the Johnston Atoll. Now keep in mind, each one of these has specific dates, so be sure you read those dates in its entirety, and if you are within those dates, then they are considered presumptive. Continuing on here, presumption of service connection for certain diseases associated with the exposure to burn pits and other toxins. So some of these diseases specific, as I've listed here, asthma, then the following types of cancers: head, neck, respiratory, gastro, reproductive, lymphoma. All of these on this list are now being considered presumptive. Continuing on, respiratory. This list is significant too, as you can see. Some of the items you can take away from this: chronic sinusitis, chronic rhinitis, chronic bronchitis, and many more listed here. So be sure to go back and read over these and kind of kind of digest it, because it is a lot that I'm going through right now. So I hope this video was informative. Like I said, I will go ahead and post the link in the description of the entire bill. Please feel free to leave me questions. I'll try my best to answer, but as it stands right now, it just got passed at the Senate floor. It's waiting for the president to sign, and then obviously it's got to get over to the VA, and as you know, things are going to have to change. So stand by to stand by. Remember my motto, veterans do better when veterans know better.